Welcome. We want to look at question 1b. This is May 2021 CPA paper. May 2021 CPA paper. And we'll be looking at question 1b. So in the books of Rhyme Enterprises, the balance at bank as at 30th October 2020, according to the cash book, was 894,680. Subsequently, the following discoveries were made. Check number that, dated 3rd October 2020, for 310 in favor of Love Limited, had been incorrectly recorded in the cash book payments as 301,840. So instead of recording 310,840, it was recorded 301,840. Then bank commission charged of 169,560 and bank interest charged of 109,100 had been entered in the bank statement on 23rd October 2020, but not included in the cash book. Then the bank statement showed a check of 29,310 received from Andrew Law and credited in the bank statement on 9th October, was dishonored on 26th October 2020. No entry had been made in the cash book with regard to the dishonored check. Then number 4, check number 177,145 for 15,100 had been recorded twice as a credit in the cash book. Number 5, cash received in the last few days of October 2020 amounting to 1,895,000 was deposited in the bank on 31st October 2020. This amount was recorded in the cash book, but was updated in the bank statement on 2nd November 2020. Some customers paid directly into the bank account amounts totaling to 210,100 on 25th October 2020. These amounts had not been recorded in the cash book. Checks paid by Rhyme Enterprises during October 2020 amounting to 395,800 were not presented to the bank for payment until November 2020. And then a standing order payment of 15,000 on 17th October 2020 had not been recorded in the cash book. So we can see there's quite a number of issues here that possibly make the cash book and the bank statement not to balance. And now what we need to do is to update the cash book and then come up with a bank reconciliation. Now remember, before we start this question, the cash book is maintained at the business, in the business. So cash book, we have it in the business. We have the accountant who maintains the cash book in the business. And a cash book is basically a record of what is happening in the bank account. So ideally, your records of what is happening in the bank account should be exactly the same as the bank's records on what is happening their end. So at the month end, when they send you the bank statement, that bank statement and your cash book are supposed to be the same. Unless if we have omissions, if we have errors, if we have dishonored checks, if we have unpresented checks, if we have uncredited checks, just the way we are seeing here in this question. And those are the things that we now want to check to make sure that we are actually on the same page before we can move to the following month. That is the whole essence of this the bank reconciliation subject. Okay, so we will immediately, and you have always to start with the updating our cash book, because that is what is within our custody. And again, it is the only thing that we can update. The bank statement we cannot update. We can only compare our cash book with the bank statement and see if there are any discrepancies or disagreements. But we have all the rights to our cash book. So majority of the corrections that we are going to carry out will be in our cash book. So let's take this advantage and update our cash book. There are some information which could have been captured in the bank, but they have not been captured in the cash book. So let's capture that information. There could be some possibly errors that we made while posting in the cash book. Now this is the time to, of course, after comparing with the bank statement, to correct. We cannot correct the bank statement. We can only correct the cash book. So let's update the cash book to make sure that it captures the whole picture as it is. So step number 1, we prepare the updated cash book just like the question is asking. So updated cash book, you just come here and you say updated cash book. updated cash book. You might want to put the date. So this will be as at 30th October 2020. You might want to put, but it's not a must. So we have it like that. This is an updated cash book. So we have it like that, and of course we have the debit and we have the credit side. Okay, so remember you had your cash book. We are now updating it, basically putting into what the new discoveries. We are just putting the new discoveries here, what was missing in the real cash book for that month. So in the books of Prime Limited, the balance at the bank as at 30th October 2020, according to the cash book, was 894,000. Subsequently, the following discoveries were made. So the balance at bank as at 30th October, according to the cash book, was, so this is the balance that we are going to start with, and we'll come here and say 30th October. It's a debit balance because we have, there's no any indication that it was an overdraft. So we'll say balance, go forward. This is how much? 894,680. 894,680. 894,680. Like that. Then the following discoveries were made. Check number 176276, dated 3rd October 2020, for 310 in favor of Love Limited. We wrote a check to Love Limited. Had been incorrectly recorded in the cash book payments as 301,840. This means that we had undercasted this. Instead of recording 310,840, we recorded 301,840. So there's a difference of 9,000. So we simply, remember this was we paid. When we pay, we credit the cash book. So we credited 301 instead of 310. So what we are going to do is just to add the difference, which we had not credited, which is 9,000. That is 310,840 minus 301,840. We get 9,000. So we'll come here and say, this is let's just use the name. This is Love Limited. I'm ignoring the dates because we are just correcting. So 9,000. So 9,000 plus what we had recorded initially. We had initially recorded 301,840, which makes it 310,840. So we will have corrected that entry. Then bank commission charged of 169,560 and bank interest charge of 109,100 had been entered in the bank statement on 23rd October 2020, but not included in the cash book. There is no way we could have known the bank commission. There is no way we could have known bank interest unless if we check on the bank statement. Now we have the bank statement, we've checked, and now we know that these were charged. These have the effect of reducing our money in the bank. So we credit our cash book. We had not recorded them anywhere in the cash book. So we record them as credits because they reduce the money in the bank. So bank commission 169,560. Bank commission 169,560. Bank commission 169,560. We are crediting because anything that reduces the assets is a credit. Bank interest 109,100. So bank interest 109,100. Bank interest 109,100, like that. So we are done with that. Then the next one, number 3. The bank statement showed a check of 229,310 received from Andrew Olo and credited in the bank statement on 9th October was dishonored on 26th October. No entry had been made in the cash book with regard to the dishonored check. So this we received it when we receive this, we debit the cash book so that we have received assets. When assets increase, we debit. So we debited, but this amount was dishonored. So we are supposed to remove it because it's no longer in our bank. It actually, the check was dishonored. So the amount does not translate into cash in our bank. So what you are going to do is just to credit our cash account to remove it altogether. So we'll say dishonored check 29,310. Dishonored check. Dishonored check 29,310, like that. And then check number 177,145 for 15,100 had been recorded twice as a credit in the cash book. Check number 177-145 for 15,100 had been recorded twice as a credit in the cash book, which means it's an obvious error. We recorded it twice on the credit side of the cash book. So what do we need to correct that error? We debit one figure, the 15,100, so that it can cancel the extra amount that was recorded in the cash book. So we are going to, remember all these 15,100s had been credited. So we are going to debit 15,100 just to cancel out one credit which is not supposed to be there. So we'll come here and say check number 177-145. Check number 177-145, and we debit it. The figure was 15,100. So 15,100, like that. Then we go to the next item, number 5. Cash received in the last few days of October 2020 amounting to 1895 was deposited in the bank on 31st October 2020. This amount was recorded in the cash book but was updated in the bank statement on 2nd November 2020. Now, this is a very good case of an uncredited check. This is called uncredited check. We have already, on our side, we don't have any problem. We received the cash last few days of October 2020 amounting to this. It was deposited in the bank on 31st, and this amount has been recorded in the cash book. That is the true position. We need to record it in the cash book. But did it reflect in the bank as was it as value, money, actual money in the bank? No, until 2nd November. So that means that in the bank, it will not be captured in that month statement. But in our books, it has been captured. So we have not made any error. So there's nothing we can do on our books. That will come under reconciliation. We cannot update our cash book because we have done the correct thing by recording it. It's just that we've come to the month end before the amount could be, the value of the figure could be realized at the bank. So that one, we leave it, we'll reconcile. It doesn't affect the cash book because the cash book is okay. There's no any mistake in the cash book with this particular transaction. This is what we call uncredited check. Some customers, that is number 6 now. Some customers paid directly into the bank account, amounts totaling to 210,100 on 25th October. These amounts had not been recorded in the cash book. Yeah, you can now see. These ones were deposited in the bank directly, but they were not recorded in the cash book. We simply record. But because we received this money, we debit the cash book. So we'll come here and say, these are what we call the direct credits. Money that goes to the bank directly. So direct credit, 210, 100. I hope I've captured the figure correctly. 210, 100. Yeah. Then number 7, check paid by Rhyme Enterprises during October. This is our enterprise. During October 2020, amounting to 395,800 were not presented to the bank for payment until November 2020. The checks amounted to 395,800 were not presented to the bank for payment until November 2020. We paid people. It is Rhyme. Rhyme is what we are dealing with. Rhyme paid other people. Checks amounting to 395,800. But these other people did not present. Remember, when we pay, we credit our cash book. So we've credited our cash book, but the bank has not been, the bank has not released that cash. So the money is still in the bank. Of course, that will be a problem. There will be some difference. What can we do our end? There's nothing we can do. We have done the right thing by capturing the transaction as it is. We paid and we credited the cash book. So there's nothing we can do about that. This is a very good example of an unpresented check. We have paid them, but they have not presented the check to the bank for payment. So this one will come, the uncredited check and the unpresented checks will feature in the reconciliation statement. So there's nothing we can do here. We have rightly captured that in the cash book. So a standing order payment of 15,000 on 17th October 2020 had not been recorded in the cash book. We simply record a standing order. It is us who have instructed the bank to pay a certain fellow outside there. So the bank has paid. there's no way we could have known unless we confirm from the bank that it has actually paid. But we gave the instruction to the bank that maybe on such and such a date, you can be paying this person. So what we are going to do now that we've confirmed from the bank statement, we simply credit. As standing order payment, we are paying, so money leaving our organization. So we credit the cash book with that amount. So we'll come here and say standing order, how much? 15,000. Standing order, 15,000. So we check if there's anything. That was the last one. So because there's nothing else remaining, we get the totals, get the totals. And this is the balancing figure. So the side with the highest figure will take the day. Add both sides, the debit and the credit side. And the side with the highest figure will take the day. Plus 210, 100. This gives us 1119, 880. 1119, 880. I've assumed, because I've just checked this side, the figures are cannot get to this level. So, but for you, you always need to add all the sides and get the sides with the highest figure. So then the difference we'll have to put here. The difference, what is lacking, we'll have to input there. So we get the other side, 9,000 plus 169, 560 plus 109, 100, 109, 100 plus 29, 310 plus 15,000. This gives us 331,970. We don't need to write that total anywhere. Just subtract from the balancing figure. It is the difference that we are interested in, and the difference is 787,910. 787,910. That's the difference. So we say this is the balance carried down like that. So our new balance is 787,910 as per the updated cash book. So then we come here and now do the bank reconciliation. We come with the bank reconciliation statement. Bank reconciliation statement. And you may also want to put the date as at 30th October 2020. What was the year? 2020. So 30th October 2020, like that. So this one, we always start with the balance as per the updated cash book. So balance as per the updated cash book. It's always advisable that we have two columns, so that at least the workings can be done in the innermost column. So balance as per updated cash book, take this one here, 787,910, that's what we have here. And then we add what we call the unpresented check. I'll tell you why we add the unpresented checks. We are adding the unpresented checks because these are the unpresented checks. These are checks which we had, checks paid by Rhyme Enterprises during October 2020 amounting to 395 were not presented to the bank for payment until November 2020. So this is our cash book. This is our cash book with this balance. But remember, in this cash book, we had already deducted this. Remember? These are checks which have been paid by us. And these checks have not been, this money is still in the bank. In our books, we have shown that we have paid. So they are not in our books. But in the bank, the money is there. So what do? We return them to our books to see if now they will agree, our balances will agree with the balances at the bank. In our books, we had removed. In the bank's books, the amount is still there. So what do? We return them to our books to see if the totals will now agree. And by returning them to our books, it simply means that we add them back because we had removed. We had shown that we had paid. So let's assume for a moment that we had not paid. So let's return them back. And that explains why we are adding. How much is the amount? The amount is 395,800. So 395,800, like that. And then we less what? The uncredited checks. Less the uncredited checks. We less the uncredited check. Now, this uncredited check, remember what happened? This is cash that was received. We had already debited our cash book, but this amount has not reflected in the bank. So what do? Can we remove it from our books to see if the balances will agree? Because we had included it in our books. The amount has not yet reflected in the book. So let's remove it from our books. That's where we have control. Let's remove it from our books and see if the totals will agree. That's why we are deducting. So what's the figure? 1895,000. So you come here and you say 1895,000, like that. You less, and we get the figure 395,800 minus 1895,000. This gives us 1499,200. 1499,200. So you don't have to write add, less. So long as you can show these brackets, it means that it will mean that we are deducting. So this is a negative figure. So 787 plus 787, 910. That gives you 711,290. So this should be the balance as per the bank. Balance as per the bank statement. So balance as per the bank statement, this should be the figure 711,290. There are some questions which are good. You are given balance at the bank, but this one they have not given as balance at the bank. So we'll safely assume that this is the balance that is at the bank. So thank you. Continue following us. Subscribe, and you'll get all the questions that are well answered immediately they are released. Thank you so much.